Good morning, guys. We are going to a field trip. We are actually here. We are in Canada. And so when we went on the PEI trip, we actually had a little bit of, I had to take out and get Canadian money when we went over, and we had some money left over. So we wanted to kind of use up that money over in Canada, because when you exchange it back, it doesn't give like the same equal rates. So it's better to use it as like Canadian money. So we thought we would plan a fun day. And my husband said, yeah, let's go do this. So we are going to do this. And I will share with you what we're doing in a couple minutes. So I am Mama Bear to many. If you have not been here before, hello. We just went to the wrong entrance. I'm a mom to 14 children. 12 of my children are still here at home or in the car or halfway out the car and halfway in the car. And we're going to do this adventure today. So we have 12 children with us, from 23 down to 2 and little mister. So we went in the wrong entrance because we listened to, Google Maps or whatever. And we're like at like the service entrance. We're like in the back part of this area that we are. And this nice guy came up and he was like, hey, I can take you right over there. So he actually drove us over to the correct parking lot. So I am very thankful for that. So let's go do it. Oh, look at the little boy. What's this? By truck, barge, or ice bridge. Moving buildings to King's Landing. This is how they moved them. So when you're a large family and you go into a museum or something like this is a living history museum, it's a really good idea to check out their family memberships. Now, the family membership here covered 2 adults and 2 children. So we actually got 3 family memberships, and children under 5 were free, and the lady was completely fine with us doing that. And yeah, so we saved a boatload of money by buying 3 family passes. So that is just a tip. This is inside of the building, the visitor center here, that talks all about like how they brought the buildings here and just different things like from the period. So it's kind of like if you walk through the back, there's a bunch of stuff in the back that talks all about that. There's also a video here. So there's a little video presentation here that the little kids wanted to watch for a minute. So we just sat there for a minute and let them watch that. And I was forgetting that there was a time change. And then I was like, all right, guys, let's go ahead and go out the door. So as you walk out the door, there was this amazing piece of art that was a moose. Yes. And then here comes the horses. Let's go.
Everybody get on, and then I'll have Josh
Mom, come on.
I'm coming. Sit here. Oh. Are we going on a horse ride?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Nina here would be the mother to all of them.
Of course you are.
So her color has pretty much passed on to everybody except for Oliver. Well, if you got her brown, I guess you just didn't get any white.
So sweet.
That's all good. Go down on this side before we get to our bridge. You'll notice things are a lot farther apart. So over on this side, it's kind of representing more our farming and our rural setting. So you'll see a bit more of the gardens and the crops. When we go across the bridge and get into the village side, everything's going to be closer together, more compact. You're going to have a few more businesses. So it's all representing who lived there in the 1800s. Us on the wagons, we do come out of character a little bit so we can tell you what's going on. When you go into the houses, it'll be like walking back in time. You're going to meet people that are going to be portraying who the real family members were in the 1800s in these houses.
Look at the fencing.
Mom.
It says sit down, sit down.
Look, Mom, there's more.
He's got Dasher and Trigger. So his horse that's closest to us is the father's my horse on the left.
Oh, cool.
You can see where Oliver gets surprised.
Yes.
On the right, the bigger one, Trigger, she's a purebred horse.
See their garden?
Or maybe Zoe. Oh, maybe Zoe.
That's a pretty one, huh?
Yeah, that's Zoe down there. Zoe and Ace look very similar. One's just got a wider back end than the other. But she, Vina would be the mother to her as well. But Zoe's got a different father from Oliver, so she's more of your Percheron side. She's quite large. If you're looking for fish, this is their pen. They do like to hide underneath the tree, so sometimes they're a little hard to find. They like to stay
Is there piggies in there?
Just saw a cow.
What a beautiful view from that farm over there.
It is, yeah. So you got the Facedown River running up there. And there's a little inlet that comes up this way. The main river kind of travels over back.
Today we're going to go over a bridge.
And if you look up here, this is known as the Jones family home. And it is our only stone house in the village, so it is a little unique. And if you have time within your visit to pop in there, I always recommend it. They even have an indoor well.
Really?
That's in the original location. Mr. Jones built his house over a spring so they could go doors for their water.
Yeah.
Do you like the horses we doing?
The horse likes you?
Oh yeah,
The horses are so strong.
it's scary.
So this is our restaurant up ahead. So down below is the pub area. Up top is the restaurant to eat, and then there is washrooms off the side as well, if anybody ever needs those.
Yes, the horses are so strong.
This is part of the village. We're just going to pull the horses up to the water trough. But if you want to start up here, you can. Or if you want to go down a little farther to the store, we can take you down there, and that way you can kind of work your way back up.
What do you want to do? Start at this. Oh, look, they're drinking. Look at their water trough.
So that's our Canadian cattle out there as well. Two of them are steers and two are cows.
Rejoice, there's some cows too.
What's Canadian cattle? Is that a breed?
It's a breed, yeah.
Is it?
So in your time period, there's not a lot of them left, unfortunately. But in the 1800s, they were fairly popular. So we brought two breeds of cattle over from France and crossed them to make the Canadian breed.
Okay.
And the breeds were picked to make them hardy enough for our winters, but tolerable of our summers.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're kind of more of the dairy strain, but they were in the 1800s dual purpose because you would keep your steers and raise for meat and
Yeah.
the females for milk. But they're, I'm not sure how familiar you are with cows. Inside and come back to
Inside.
your dairy cows, like your Guernseys and
I
Jerseys.
see.
We do have one Guernsey calf as well. In that barn with the shingles, we have our twin Canadian calves that were born this spring, one of our
Mm-hmm.
And you put bands underneath the belly, and it lifts the weight up, and then you can work on their feet.
Okay.
So it's real interesting to take a peek at that.
Yeah. No.
So we do actually have a church service today. If anybody wants to join in, you're always welcome to do that. And if you don't, definitely don't charge either. Be on this wagon.
What time do they do church service?
I believe 2 o'clock is when it starts. They normally ring the bell once, and that's called the morning bell, and then the second time is the say church is started.
That's neat.
Alright, this is the end of our loop.
Mom wanted to get her picture. Yep, had to get my picture in front of the horse and carriage, and my husband took the kids over to like pet the horse and stuff. He asked the driver, and she was completely okay with it. He's really good around horses. I never really liked horses, to be honest with you, but he grew up around them. So right next to there was the shop that they had. And this is like fashioned after a general store, so everything that they would have had like in a general store back then, and everyone there was like 4 people inside of there, like staff that were pretending to be like from that time period, and they answered all of the questions. Any questions anyone had, they just smiled and they answered the question, and it was just really, really great. There was so many.
Suffix. I don't know. It's hard to tell if that head is black or not. If it's black, I think it's a suffix.
I know, they're all like, this is yummy. This day was so hot and humid. This is where they kept some old wagons and stuff in here. And so these are just different. This is their village side of things. Like she was explaining in the beginning, there's kind of like the farm side and then the village side. But even in the village side, there was lots of farmy stuff because most people kept, you know, a couple animals and such. The sheep and everything were on the village side. So they were just seeing how everything was created and how different it was from what we do. And then my daughter, she's like, a sheep came in the barn. She was wanting everyone to come see this poor lone sheep, and nobody wanted to see it. They were too hot. They had already gone in that building. Anyway, everyone's just standing around deciding which way we wanted to go. And we decided to go into this house first. So this here is the Morehouse. Daniel Morehouse was the squire of the parish, magistrate and justice of the peace. He controlled all legal and administrative business in Queensberry Parish in 1820. So we are just going through this house. There were such cool ideas in this house. I love that drying rack there. Wasn't that interesting? So this is where like their kitchen was, and then above it there was a room, and it actually had the copper tub that they would take a tub in, and he explained how he would have like pulled that down and taken the tub like that. So this right here, look at the floor. So this floor is actually made from old sailcloth, and I guess what they would do is they would have painted it numerous times and put just different materials on it to make it into almost like a raised carpet like. I'm not quite sure how exactly you would explain it, but it was really, really interesting. So all the painting and everything is done after it being a sail. My little girls are wearing the same dresses from Anne of Green Gables. They look like they fit right in here. So you can see the chamber pot and the hand-done rug. The quilts were gorgeous in this house. There was a small little room that was just like a little sewing room and office type area. And the beds all had these like little drapes or whatever over them. Some of the clothing in the closets. And yeah, she was so excited to be in there. She kept saying, "Oh, look at this, look at this." So sweet, so very precious to watch your children like experience something for the first time. So yeah. So you feel like you're actually in a village because the little dirt paths and there's apple trees all over, old farm equipment. This is going to be the next house that we go into, but first we wanted to go into the garden. So there's this lovely arch right here that the kids love to go through, and then the back garden. Pretty garden, huh? I see. This way. See what flowers you can name. Come this way. I need to be near her.
This one's rose.
I think that's Cosmos.
I'm gonna say it's rose.
Okay.
And
The gardens here were absolutely gorgeous, just filled with flowers. This was the front of the house. So this house is actually the Ingram house and barn. And not Ingram, the owner of the Ingram house, was a New Brunswick-born child of a Loyalist parents born in 1785 at Fredericton. He was the son of Benjamin and Joshua Ingram. I ended up sitting outside for that one because somebody was quite upset. It was just so hot. So we stopped and had water and a snack with the little one. So now we're just walking along the other path and seeing all different types of houses here. So this here was the Fisher house. That gentleman that you just saw, he was doing a good job explaining everything about the house and the contents, which was really nice. And then we ended up going back on the road and walking through the next few areas. This house, some people went in and some people did not. Some people were wanting to play, as you can see, and run around. And then other older people, they went in the house and explored that house while we were having fun playing and pulling the carriage around and finding apple trees and all that type of stuff. Want to go in there or no?
You gotta go in the house and then
We're going in the house and then around.
I'm gonna walk back in because I didn't see the.
So I believe this one is the longhouse, and it was a really interesting walkthrough. So on this floor here, there was quite a few different bedrooms. There were small bedrooms, but there was quite a few of them. And then the kitchen was actually in the basement. So at the beginning, the little video clip, they were actually coming out from the basement kitchen. I did not end up going down there. A lot of the kids thought it was really cool. So if we ever go back, I probably will go down there. But I did go on this first floor here. The quilts, they're so beautiful. I love quilts. They're so beautiful. So yeah, see all the little bedrooms that are in there? They're just like little nooks throughout the center of the house, which is really fun. And there wasn't upstairs, but it was blocked off, so we couldn't go and see that. As you can see, my little miss here was getting sleepy, so she was laying down. She never did end up taking a nap until we got home, but we were still having fun. In front of us was the blacksmith shop, but it ended up being closed when we got there. And here is called the ox house, and it was really interesting how the hay got dropped down from the second story into the hay racks. So that was kind of cool. And this is also where they would have shoed the oxen. There's the yokes there. So we had fun in there. There's actually two churches on the property. This is an Anglican one, and the other one, I forget what the other one is. We did not go to the other one because it's kind of on the other side. We just drove by it in the wagon. We actually only did like a half a day here. I thought that we should have left probably earlier in the morning, but we couldn't decide because it looked like it was going to rain. And yeah, it was just one of those days, but we still had a grand adventure. So we ended up going in there, and then my daughter looked like she belonged there, so I thought that I would take her picture there. And I love the fencing, just plain old trees. Back on the wagon ride again. So it was so nice. He offered to drop us off at the sawmill. So this side over here was the grist mill, which was closed right then. But then we went up the hill and across this bridge here over to the sawmill. So made everyone take a picture again. Mom's responsibility to take pictures. So we're going to go across the bridge over to the sawmill. So my sweaty little 3-year-old was about done with doing everything for the day. And so we ended up getting her up and over to the other side. And I gave her a little bit of Gatorade and she was good as new once again. Amazing what a little snack and a Gatorade or water can do. It was really pretty there. I guess the river used to rise really high in there. And the people inside of this building were super, super knowledgeable and played kind of like a game of like, hey, what do you think this is? What do you think that is? And just gave out so much information.
That ratchet system, that was invented by a famous Italian painter in the 1500s. You know who he was? You know who he was? Anybody? You know who he was? What a helpful hint. His first name was Leonardo.
Leonardo da Vinci, yes.
Now, probably there were sawmills in Europe before here, but here in North America, our first sawmill was in 1623 in the Kennebec. Yeah, but what kind of horseshoe? Somebody said it. Look, it sits like this. Look here, there, and here. Any idea what that's for? Remember, the St. John River is still the highway, even in the wintertime. Yeah, it's an ice shoe for a horse. Now, I got one more here I'd like to show you. Can you tell me what these are? Any idea what those are?
So nice. That's cool. You can see the big wheel. See how the wheel outside would turn this inside with the gears? You might be able to see better in between here.
If you're not going to hold your hand, I'm going to hold it.
I find that whenever we go on field trips, there's always 10,000 other things to learn once we come home because they're just so intrigued by what they see visually and what they can hear and what they can touch. And it's just an amazing way to learn because it opens their world to so many new things. And some of the questions they come up with, you may not even think of as being part of the field trip that you are doing, but it's important to them. So here we are at the Jones house. Stone houses are uncommon in rural New Brunswick, but Thomas Jones was not a common man in any sense of the term. Family legend records that he was in the midst of building his fine new stone house when word came that his wife had just given birth to his firstborn son. Following his own sense of priorities, Thomas Jones continued to lay stone, finishing the upstairs window on which he was working before going to see his wife and newborn son. That son's name was Simon after his grandfather. Left the farm as a young man, moving to St. John where he managed and later owned a brewery. My sweet daughter took pictures inside of this building because I did not go upstairs. I did not go in this house. I was done. They're showing how a baby would be in a set of drawers. And my grandmother actually talked about that quite a bit, that lots of times babies would just be laid in drawers. So it's kind of interesting to see how they had that there as a demonstration, right? Yeah, I was done. I had a bunch of the little kids with me down there, and my husband was down there as well. I just needed a couple minutes to rest before we moved on. It was so very hot this day. In the morning, it seemed like it was going to rain, but then it ended up being so humid, it wasn't even funny. It was like your clothes were sticking to you. I think the temperature was like 98 with like super high humidity. So yeah, being this far pregnant, I said, I'm going to sit. There's a nice shady spot out here. I'm going to sit outside. But we did get a lot done on this day. We got to visit lots of the houses. I would like to go back at some point, at some time. For those of you who do not know what King's Landing is kind of like if you lived in the United States, if you've ever heard of Old Sturbridge Village, it's kind of like that setup. Basically a working history museum. And yeah, it's really, I love just venturing out on field trips like this, because we all get so much from it and so many things more that we need to learn about. So this is an old barn. Here's a bunch of stuff that was in the old barn. We walked back through, we went through the town, and then we walked over to, this is like the farming side of it. So it's kind of split into two parts. The first side near the visitor center is all the farmy stuff. And then it's split into, the other side is like a village. And these are all like loyalist families in this area. So we want to look a lot more into the history of this. And so I ended up getting a book from there that we're going to read aloud as well. I don't know, just precious times together. This was the farm that was over on the other side when you first go in. It was just gorgeous. The views were gorgeous of the St. John River. And let's go and check out this schoolhouse here.
It's a school.
So when we read all the stories, you'd be able to get an idea of what it looks like in this school. So I hope that you enjoyed the video today all about King's Landing. The kids' favorite part, or the younger kids' favorite part, was just being able to ride on the horse-drawn wagon, which is no additional cost to your entrance fee, which was nice because a lot of times they want to charge you extra money for those types of things. So how do we come up with the money for this? Very interesting. So I budgeted $1,000 for our trip to Cavendish, to Prince Edward Island. And as you guys probably already saw, if you've seen the Anne of Green Gables trip, you would know that I came in under budget for that. I ended up getting some Canadian money so that we would have Canadian money over there in case we needed money instead of using like a debit card. And so I had that money still left in cash. I never ended up using it. So I had that money in cash. So that covered the majority of this trip. I ended up buying 3 family passes. The family passes are $60 for 2 adults and 2 children as of this year. And children under 5 are free. So it's a lot cheaper. I think the price for just 1 adult is like $27, $28. So it's a lot cheaper to do it that way. I figured out the math of all the different ways, and I asked the lady if I could do that or if she needed to do it 3 separate or whatever. And she's like, nope, I can ring it right through and we'll be great with that. So I think that we ended up spending $40 cash for this field trip, and we used up our Canadian money. The transfer rate is just really weird to try to transfer it back. So that is what we did. We've wanted to go here actually for a while. We also have, people asked before about how we get over to Canada if we have passports or not. We have Nexus cards, which some of our Nexus cards are going to be running up this year. They run up after 5 years on your birthday. So some of our cards are going to be running up. So we are going to be getting new Nexus cards, but we wanted to just get this done before anyone actually needed another Nexus card. So that was it. I hope you all have a blessed and lovely day.